We are traveling from Island, which we left this morning, to Georgetown, and we're on the Exuma Sound side, and you're doing a little bit of fishing. How's the fishing going?
Catching a lot of seaweed. I have a theory that you catch as much seaweed in weight as you do in fish. So it means dragging in the lure quite often to take seaweed off, and then once you have enough weight, then a fish will come along and bite it.
So you're going to get a big fish pretty soon.
Maybe, exactly.
I'm looking forward to that big fish.
So there's a ton of seaweed on it. Oh no, Steph! It all washed off just before it got here.
Oh, maybe the other one will have some.
Somebody whose wife is a little bit more in tune with fishing, explain to Stephanie why going, oh, there's no more seaweed on the lure, probably isn't the kind of thing that someone who fishes wants to hear. It's a good sized fish.
Yeah, that's a nice fish.
There you go.
So you got your 2 fish.
Yeah, but we have a lot more space in our freezer.
You got your 2 fish in one day. I know it wasn't back to back, but
I wanted them on at the exact same time, but they were on within 20 minutes of each other.
And you know, it worked out perfectly because it gave you enough time to process the one before you had to
Exactly.
deal with the second one. If you had to process both of them at the same time, it would have been much harder.
We went a nautical mile past our tacking point, but in the end, I underestimated our tack point, so our tack point's perfect.
What do you got in that cooler there?
This cooler is holding the tools so that a fish can go in that cooler.
Looks like fishing supplies.
It smells like fishing supplies too. Instead of owning a big fishing pole and fishing off the back, I like to put multiple lures out behind the boat when we're sailing or motoring. We also like to keep it really simple where we can throw the lures out, fish when we can, and then bring it in quickly without a lot of maintenance in between. So what we have is we have multiple yo-yos, and yo-yos are basically these circle donuts that hold trawling lines. I'm going to show you this one real quick. A trawling line basically is hooked onto the back of the boat, and then you throw your lure in and it follows the boat as you go along. For pelagic fish, the sweet window for how fast you should go is about 6 to 8 knots, as I understand it. Some things we learned the hard way is you want a fairly large lure. This one, the hook is a little bit larger than my thumb. The lure itself looks to be about 6 to 8 inches and has a lot of play, and this lure basically sits about 1 to 2 feet below the surface of the water. In clear water, it's catching a lot of light and it's showing a lot of play. If you're fishing for pelagic fish, you're going to catch a lot of barracuda. The reason why I'm bringing that up is barracuda will bite past the lure. They'll clamp down on your lead, and if your lead is anything other than metal, it will cut through it no matter how thick that line is. If it is not metal, they will cut through it, and then you've lost your lure. I lost 3 to 4 lures to what I believe were barracuda, and I went back and restrung all of my lures with stainless steel wire. The lead is only about 6 feet long, and it is cut down to losing 0 lures now. Just go all metal up front, just buy the lure itself and string your own metal leads like I have, or they do make really high quality lures that have a metal lead that you can buy already rigged up. On the other end from the lead, what I have is the yo-yo, and the yo-yo is basically this circle that looks like a yo-yo. It's the storage for your trawling line. It's really easy. You hold on to it, you unspool it this way, and then you re-spool the line as you're bringing it out from behind the vessel, and you store it this way. On the opposite end from the lure, the other terminus is basically a loop to basically attach directly to a cleat. We have a bungee cord. This bungee cord is used to set the hook in the fish's mouth. Once the fish goes to bite the lure, it starts to pull away from the direction that the lure is being pulled. And at that time, you want to yank the hook into the fish's mouth, but you don't want to yank so hard that it's so abrupt that it actually pulls it out of the fish's mouth. So there's that optimal setting the hook resistance that you have to place on the fish at initial hit of the lure, and that's what this bungee cord does. And then last but not least, on this other end are my bells. We have these bells. When the fish hits the lure, you will hear a small, and you know that there is some type of action going on with your line. It's a good sound. I like these. I picked these brass bells up. They don't rust, and they're nice and loud.
How many miles do we have from Least Docking Island to Georgetown?
Without the tacking miles, just if everything was perfect, the waypoints added up to about 19 or 20 nautical miles. Predict Wind said that to tack, it would probably be about 29 nautical miles.
From Least Docking Island, we exit Adderley Cut into the Exuma Sound and travel 29 nautical miles, entering Conch K Cut to reach the anchorage area beside Monument Beach on Stocking Island. This is an extremely popular area, and lots of cruisers spend months or even the entire season in Stocking Harbor and Elizabeth Harbor. From the anchorage, we dinghy to Chat and Chill restaurant, where we enjoy some drinks, and the labmaraners get harassed by the feral cats living on the island. We then continue our explorations in the bay, checking out the numerous boats on the many mooring balls in this area. Finally, we return to Monument Beach to take the LabMariners on one of our many hikes on Stocking Island.
We have found the tiki path to Honeymoon Beach. We're taking the dogs on that. I'm on the tiki path. We're heading to Honeymoon Beach with the dogs. Little rocky. We'll see how they do. I'm having a little harder time walking. Do you want to continue on?
I don't know where we're going.
This goes to Honeymoon Beach. Now we're on a downward stretch. Tiki path to the monument. What do you think? Pretty view.
Pretty day, pretty view.
Pretty view. What you waiting for, guys? Did you not give them a release command? Ah, they're waiting. That's a big one.
Jump.
Shut up.
After taking the LabMariners back to the boat, we do a little hiking on our own.
Ready for some more hiking?
I need to ask my boss. She's the one who's telling me what I'm doing.
Yes, we're gonna do some more hiking.
Then I'm ready. Nice little dock. How's that, sweetie?
That's good. Not as good as a regular swing. You gotta work harder. Surprised you didn't walk right through this. Some of the trail markers along the way left by other cruisers.
There tend to be interesting markers for each of the trails. It's sometimes the shoes, sometimes a piece of rope, sometimes a buoy, just lost pieces that have been found that are used now for marking the trail. Here in front of me is another trail marker. As you can see, it's just a piece of line.
They even built a nice wall. It'd be hard to miss this path.
Absolutely.
We hike to the Exuma Sound side, finding our way to the beach where we enjoy a nice walk, and Jim finds a few small shells. Then we search for the trail that leads up to the monument.
There, we're gonna see if we can find the right path. You got steps and a rope. That's serious.
We reach the monument and also find a bench with an overlook containing the site where LabMariner is anchored.
There's our boat. It doesn't look so crowded.
Nope.
From way up here, does it?
Nope.
Kiss.
At the top of Monument Hill, you can see the beach below, where cruisers have written their boat names in the sand using rocks collected on the island. This reminds me of Boo Boo Hill on Wardour Wells, where boaters write their names on pieces of wood. It's fun to pick out names from above and also try to find those same names when walking on the beach below.
Since we're only going to be here for 2 days and 3 nights, we really don't have time to collect rocks to give our own personal stamp that we were here. We'll just have to remember it in pictures. And back we go to LabMariner. We had a beautiful hike on Stocking Island. So this is your collection from the beach.
Oh, it's your collection. I gave it to you.
I like the hat. It's not bad for about 10 minutes.
The next day, I hiked to the Exuma Sound side in search of stromatolites. If you weren't looking for these stromatolites, you probably wouldn't even notice they were there. These formations basically look like large, brown, flat rocks interspersed in the sandy beach. There are only 2 places in the world where stromatolites can be observed in a marine environment: Western Australia and the Exumas. When the Earth was formed, it contained very low concentrations of oxygen. Around 3.8 billion years ago, the fossil record begins to show the presence of stromatolites, built by single-cell bacteria such as cyanobacteria. These bacteria perform photosynthesis, producing oxygen, and form large biofilms. Stromatolites are formed when sediment sticks to these biofilms and forms layer of sedimentary rocks interspersed with the living cyanobacteria. Thus, these stromatolites were probably a primary source of the oxygen, which made more complex life on Earth possible. After observing the stromatolites, I continue my walk and find a tree swing.
And a perfectly placed tree swing. I'm gonna go try it out. Doing a tree swing on my walk all by myself. Jim wanted to rest for a while and I wanted to get some more walking in. So I am now swinging.
We awake in the morning to a lovely sunrise peeking over Stocking Island. From our anchorage beside Monument Beach, we dinghy about 15 minutes to reach Georgetown. Access to Georgetown is under a small bridge into Lake Victoria, where a large dinghy dock awaits. Georgetown is the largest town in the Exumas and offered us a chance to restock our supplies and get some gas for the dinghy.
Yes.
Not yet. Hoping to. Can I start up, boss?
Yeah, that's on.
Thank you.
Sandy, you just drive your dinghy up.
$5.60 a gallon.
Get what you needed?
$46 worth.
So we just did our shopping at Exuma Markets in Georgetown.
Yeah.
We picked up all the additional necessities, mainly produce and junk food.
And lunch, which was not necessarily
Yes,
junk food,
lunch.
and 10,
Yes.
10 gallons worth of gasoline for the dinghy.
So we are set for probably
So-
the rest of our trip.
We have a good 16 gallons to get around now. That's
Yeah,
good.
one of the things about junk food is it's not very expensive.
No, junk food is
Yeah,
ubiquitous.
it's pretty similar to U.S. prices, where everything else is quite expensive, including produce isn't bad.
Yeah,
but
no, this
a lot of stuff
everything
is
around here
extremely
is pretty good.
expensive. Yeah, but the junk food is cheap.
All right, turn the camera around and
Join us next week when we sail to Conception Island, where we hike along white cliffs, snorkel pristine reefs, and explore the mangroves in this protected marine park.